Welcome back, everybody, after this very long break, I guess, in play. We're back with Cloud9 Vortex against Happy Faerie Dragons. Still with me is the one, the only, it's Party Foul. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I was actually a bit sad TSM lost the TIP, but let's get to this game right here. Finally getting started. The first ban out is going to go against the Sergeant Hammer on the Sky Temple map.
Yeah, so Sky Temple map. It's one of the
Uh,
maps where Hammer's really strong. If Hammer can get sieged up before the temples activate, it's really hard to force her out of that position, especially in the second rotation of temples down bot lane. If she gets sieged up, you're going to have a hard time getting into those chokes and getting into that temple. So, a very understandable ban coming out from C9. And how are the Fairy Dragons going to respond?
you can definitely see Rhaegar and Azebo being banned out on this
Yep,
map.
there it
Okay,
is,
so
Rhaegar.
this can be Rhaegar. Yep. Once again, I'm happy to be in the better driving seat of making these correct picks and bans here. If any of you weren't with us, I'm not too sure if anyone got to see them for this game, but they were throwing us for a loop. Illidan will actually be picked up
Yep.
by C9 Vortex here.
So now Happy Fairy Dragons, what they could do here is they could take away Uther, who is the only burst style support, quote unquote, left in the draft, and or Tacita. Because then Illidan becomes so very squishy here. So it's something they could think about. Or they could go for the Valor. Okay, so yeah, Tacita's fine. And Uther, there it is,
There you
straight
go.
up.
So, well, I have to say I'm not too familiar with these teams. Haven't been able to see a lot of them play too much lately. So, of course, everything I'm gonna be going off will be directly off of who's been played mostly. So, we definitely with the, of course, Uther being picked up, I can definitely see the Malfurion being picked up. I don't believe they would want to let go of that Malfurion. Of course, Brightwing has seen a bit of play, so they'll actually go with the ETC and follow. So I guess they're not too worried about leaving that Malfurion, either knowing that Happy Fairy Dragons doesn't want to pick that up because they've already picked up two good supports and they're one to opt to go for this damage and a
They
tanky warrior. But
They could do something really funky. They could pick up Malfurion
yep,
and then just have Nazebo for a ton of damage, and then maybe run something like a Sonya or Stitches, going for a more DPS style tank. Could be an
it is,
option.
yes, the triple support is not unheard of, so we'll have to definitely go in because you do see the Tastar is one of the more utility supports. He actually does put out a good bit of damage,
Okay,
so
so there's Stitches.
really no big
They must
surprise
pick
there.
they must pick Nazebo here. I don't see why they wouldn't. And it's either Nazebo or Malfurion, I feel. I,
I would honestly do think the Nasiba would be a better pickup just because they're going to want that massive amount of
yeah.
damage going out. But if they don't, they'll definitely should be picking up the Malfurion to give the deny on the Cloud9,
Yeah,
forcing them
yeah,
into.
that's the key here. It's denying Malfurion. But if they were gonna go for something like Malfurion Azebo, they wouldn't have taken Stitches. They would have left Stitches open.
So we're really gonna have to see. Is that very interesting? This fan here, they're definitely taking their time. So
Zagara.
actually Zagara. So
Okay. Last night it was the Kings of the Storm week 12, and X Storm, who I think he played for Magikarps, played Zagara in every single game, and they went for a more of a Wombo style team with Zagara more into Uther Divine Storm and into either Apocalypse or Lightning Breath Diablo, depending on what they were up against.
yeah.
But Happy Fairy Dragons don't really have the luxury of that. They really need to get some damage on the board.
So
And
they
with
actually end
Nazebo
up
picked
losing
away.
Nazebo. That's actually huge. And wow, they don't
Ooh.
even care about Malfurion. They went straight for this Brightwing pick. So Cloud9 is just saying, well, you could have taken the Malfurion, you decide not to, but we're going to punish you for not taking Nazebo. You took Zagara,
Yeah.
and we're not too sure if you want to pick up Nazebo or not. So we're going to go ahead and pick him up. They have a lot of damage coming out of this team. And depending on how it goes, if they can get an ETC on just a couple of people here, they will destroy the team. With the Nazebo coming out, Rain of Vengeance coming out, or Strafe even, and to the Metamorphosis, it's just blow up one team. I mean, just no one's going to be that big of a happy camper. And if actually, I think if Fairy Dragons, if they end up not picking Malfurion right now, even though they would lose a lot of damage, I
Yeah,
think they would get bursted way too quickly
that's
to be
that's
able
the
to survive
problem.
any of these fights.
That's the problem they face. What is on the board for damage? If we just go along in alphabetical order, Falstad, Jaina, Nova, Reyna, Tychus.
The ways
Tyrande doesn't really bring too much damage.
if we look at it,
They're in a really
knowing
tough spot.
that the there are good heals coming out Brightwing once she's able to pick up that blink kill. Maybe if they actually go for Jaina and Jaina's able to pop someone, then maybe. But at the same time, if Brightwing does decide to go Emerald Wind instead of blink kill, she can actually just really isolate that Jaina due to her really like such a short range there. You know, if ETC goes in, Brightwing's in another lane, Brightwing sees he gets on them, Emerald wins someone out into a good position for them, then they'll just blow up that target. Because right now, with that Uther and his burst healing, he doesn't have enough sustain healing to really keep someone alive. He'll be able to burst them up quickly, but with as much damage that's on Cloud9 right now, it would be really hard to keep someone alive.
Yeah, if you just look at the pure damage coming out of Cloud9, they have the Ravenous Spirit, they have the Illidan, they're going to go Tychus as their damage source. They needed something in there. Tacita Zagara just wasn't enough. But they lack heals to counter that Nazebo. All they have is the healing ward. And in this situation, Valor could, in theory, go for Strafe here to add a ton of more damage on there as well. So it's a tough spot for the Happy Faerie Dragons. They lack sustain through these fights. They don't have the greatest of damage on the board. And the idea of taking that Tacita away is it hasn't worked out for them, because now Tacita is more or less a useless pick. Who's he gonna shield? Stitches? That's about it.
Really, really interesting in my opinion. I mean, I just the Zagara I can kind of see, you know, with the Uther Maul into Barnstorm or either or, but even with Tychus, you know, he's gonna have to Odin up in the back. But if he gets caught, he's just gonna die, especially without that second health bar now. So he's in a really bad spot right now because even though he can use the first aid and the stone skin on himself while in Odin, if he of course decides, I've seen a lot of drill going out lately. The Illidan can get back onto him, and then you'll follow up by the Brightwing, you know, blink healing if she
Yeah.
decides to go that route. The ETC, we definitely either see Mosh Pit or Stage Dive, but once he gets in there, and it's really hard to pick him apart, especially when you have so few real damage dealers on this team, and they're just gonna get in there and destroy whoever, especially if she goes to multi-shot build, which I do think would be a little better in this game over the single target. But we'll really have to see what each team decides to go. Really, really interesting right now.
So, something else that is going to be curious is, what does Stitches take at level 10? Does he go for the Gorge and just try and isolate the Illidan or an overextended Valor or a Brightwing or something like that? Or does he go for the Putrid Bile? I feel like Gorge is probably the best option here. But that usually
Thinking
means he
about
goes for a
that,
more DPS build.
but if he does do that, the question is look onto the target he needs.
Yeah. He
Will,
does...
will they be able to target quick enough? So,
Yeah.
I mean, they have good damage with Tychus, but there's too much sustained damage coming out of Tassadar and Zagara to really push that damage. And in these fights, he's gonna really want to get in and try to disrupt the team. So, the Putrid Bile, of course, on this map is really, really strong. Especially when you're fighting over the shrines, because it can cover the whole entire area of the shrine. So we'll have to really see what happens. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce this Cloud9 team over here. On the bottom, we will have Syracuse playing the Nazebo. Bobby Hankhill will be playing the Bala. Six will be playing on the right wing. We have ETC being played by Tazza, and Fan will be playing the Illidan right there.
And the right hand side, they didn't get their pick of the Happy Faerie Dragon, but it is their team name. We have Shrey on the Tychus, Dawnlu on Stitches, Inkling on Uther, and Cawthorn Luck on Zagara, and trailing behind, going towards bot, trying to body block the minions, is Panda Jigu on the Tacita. So right now,
Actually, kind
Stitches.
of sad he doesn't have the mount there. Everyone's sporting that mount, but except for him.
Yeah. Stitches, they went for some little early aggression here. They were able to get the watchtower, but weren't able to get a hook from it. They're trying to apply some pressure in top lane. It's interesting they haven't left Zagara just to solo push bot and just do her thing. Instead, opting for her to be in this tri lane and apply some pressure along with Stitches and Uther.
So this is very interesting. I guess they're just really going to count on Tassadar to keep himself in that lane against Illidan. Putting Zagara against Illidan would be easy until he hits level 4. Once he gets that Immolate, he can actually do a lot of damage and just, he has real no escape. He can really make it a bad day for her. So I guess that's the reason why they're opting to keep her in this top lane right here. Mid lane looks like it's pretty much even for anybody. If Day does get caught out like that and people can start throwing down some spells on him, he won't be having too much fun. But right now we have this is just kind of coming up, making sure they can keep that vision capped, as it will be their best friend, especially as the shrines are about to come up. Right now we do have Tychus coming up. Instead, looks like they're gonna recap this vision right here and
do they go for mid? Or do they go for top? It looks like they're just gonna hold mid and then soak lanes.
So right now both teams, as I've been seeing a lot more of these teams, they're actually really both teams just try to give up the first one to each team's going to go ahead and go on even while they try to soak, because the team right now, they're keeping both people bottom. We do actually have Tychus coming up though, so he's not going to soak this lane. They might go try to test this top one, but not too sure if that's a good idea right now.
Yeah, it's not the best idea, it has to be said. Zagara is now going to join them, so they're going to be 3v3 in the top. But they're not going to find anything. And a quick fact of the day, Forecourt tried catching me out with this one yesterday, but if you get the entirety of the mid shrine, you end up getting more XP than you do if you get the entirety of top shrine, because it focuses down the tower next to the fort in the mid lane, whereas the top lane it goes for the fountain first.
Oh wow.
Yep. Random fact of the day. There you go. Now you know. So they Happy Faerie Dragons ended up with a little bit more XP there, and that kind of offset them having to go for that top lane pressure. Losing the XP in mid was offset by them getting the tower.
So both teams hitting 6 right now. Hook going down, but only catching out a minion. Bobby ain't kills, just going in. We do see this multi-shot build coming out of him, so no real surprises there. Brightwing actually does have the bribe, so it will make it a little easier getting these camps over here. Pretty much standard builds going out. Way we do have multi-shot, as I said, coming out of Bala. We have the Death Patrol and Gathering Power being picked up for Nazebo. Block and Echo Pill coming out for the ETC. Bribe and Protective Shield coming out for the Brightwing, and Shadow Shield and Immolate coming out for the Illidan. So pretty standard across the board for C9 here.
Looking towards the Stitches though, he's got Amplified Healing at 4, but took Slam at 1. Usually if you see Amplified Healing, you see Chew Your Food at level 1, because that is just so much healing that's going down onto you. And the only other two sources that he has for the healing is just Uther and the Healing Ward from Tasta. So it's going for... Maybe initially started thinking, yeah, damage looks good, and we're actually having it engaged right next to the boss. This is risky.
Going on to say, it is going to pull the boss here, and Tazza will get hooked out, so he's actually going to get in a really bad situation. He will be knocked out and killed right there, so the first blood will be going out to the Happy Faerie Dragons. So actually a very good pick out. The boss helped a bit in that endeavor, but in the end it will give him a little bit of control as this bottom shrine is coming up here.
Yep, and they have the XP lead now, the Happy Faerie Dragons. They've also got this siege camp pushing down bot lane. It's applying some pressure. They've disappeared now, but they have the 7 lane minions as standard. Taking Illidan's attention. Tassadar are now moving in, going to get a first few shots off here. And C9 are just happy to give this up. They're like, we'll trade hard camps. This is strange.
Yeah, so Fan is just going there, just being a bit of an annoyance, since we all know that they are, but instead they actually look like they just want to push this down instead. So they know that 2 members are actually down right now. Fan has said, well, Stitches is over here, so if you guys go ahead and push this out, then we could possibly come out a little bit even. But level 10 will be picked up by Faerie Dragons here early, as they do have the mid lane soaking and the bottom lane soaking, and they are getting this shrine. So C9 is a little bit on the back foot. We'll have to see how they play this out. They are able to pick this up, but they have lost that whole entire the walls down there due to the Stitches picking up the shrine. So at the same time, Stitches and Tassadar can push this down, but it looks like we might. They don't care. They're actually just still pushing this straight down.
They can see Zagara on the map, they can see two other members, so it's just Uther and Tychus left to defend now. Brightwing does have the blink here, so if Uther tries to sprint in, he will get polymorphed instead of Emerald Winded away. And now Zagara has joined them.
Yep. So, despite it happening, Happy Faerie Dragons were able to get that bottom fort, but at the same time, it's pretty much even across the board here for them getting the two towers. And this means later on that if they do start picking up the shrines, they will just be able to push this down. Minions eventually will be able to get down that wall right there with no problem if they do end up getting that far. So we'll really have to see what Happy Faerie Dragons do decide to do. And despite what looked like to be a bit of a bad situation, C9 just kind of made the best out of it right there.
Yeah, initially it was a very strange call for them to leave the shrine, but the bottom shrine is usually the one that decides the game if you choose to contest it, but we're seeing a Brightwing TP down onto Fan.
Actually going straight into this. They're going to go and split this team right here. We do have the ultimates coming out right there, but he will get pulled. Syracuse a little bit in a bad position, but Stitches is going to be locked down. Will he be able to get the kill onto them? Maul does get out onto 3 members right there, so they're going to be split out. The Divine Storm just wrecking the side of C9 Vortex right now, and that's going to be 3 members selling, so it will be a 3-0 in favor of Happy Faerie Dragons. So they're going to go get right onto this boss, knowing that there's no way for C9 to be able to contest them on it.
And this is really scary as well, because both easy camps have just spawned. Illidan can't go and take this, he'd be all by himself. I'd expect to see Zagara just shimmy her way over and maybe try and contest this, and that's exactly what they're going to do with Uther and Stitches. They're going to have so much pressure in this bot lane that they can just leave probably Tassadar or Tychus on this bot shrine to try and cap it and just push this bot lane in so hard.
Syracuse actually ended up zoning out a member of his team during that with his wall, and it allowed the Stitches to get onto him and actually pull him to stop his ultimate. So they're actually a bit in a bad situation. The Maul came out and it was perfect, followed up by the Divine Storm, just killed all of them. Bobby Hankill is gonna have to go ahead and strafe right now. Taz though getting locked out by the tornado of the boss. He will end up dying right there, and wow, Happy Faerie Dragons just really pushing this game so well right now. They have Tassadar on the bottom shrine just pushing out. Illidan right now is trying to get that top one because they need to do as much damage as possible, but him not being there is just allowing these Happy Faerie Dragons to just really push down this bottom fort.
Yep, and they're now also, because of this bottom shrine they're getting, the gate up top, the wall is going to fall alongside this tower, and they have 5 shots left. They're going to be a little bit sporadic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing really falls after those. So they're now just going to fall back to the Faerie Dragons and take their easy camp of their own. Their hard camp is up in 15 seconds, so expect to see them rotate over towards there afterwards. And now they can just sit back. They have no real need to try and force a fight right now. It's 15 to 13. It's not a big level difference. It's not significant in talents. They can just soak XP until they hit 16 and then engage the fight on their terms.
So Cloud9 just really going to have to play their next fight perfect if they want any bit of chance of coming back in this game. They are 2 levels down right now, but on the good note is that they do have Mule, so the Nazeebo actually did decide to go Mule instead of having the increased ability power on his abilities. So right now, he will be able to throw that up Mule, hopefully get some of the forts back up or towers, whichever are getting focused down. But right now, it looks like we might have a fight down in the middle here. Brightwing is going to have to blink away so that she does not get caught. But at the same time, we do have the ETC coming in from the backside. Will he be able to get anything down? We do have the Strafe coming out, doing a lot of damage. Say is going to get popped down by this Illidan. Will the Odin be able to help him out at all? He's going to try to do as much damage as he can. The healing's coming out onto him, but will he be able to survive? Taz taking a lot of damage. He will fall inside that Odin. It looks like they're going to try to jump onto Tassadar next. Is he the best target for this? Will they decide to switch onto Uther? I don't know. Right now, they are going to be able to get down Tass. They're going to go straight onto Uther next. Will they be able to get him? They're going to run in there. It will be a 3-0 in the favor of C9. Right now, they're going to switch onto Cthulhu Luck. Will he be able to survive? He's about to get out. He barely escapes with the Q coming out of Wing, and that is the fight that they needed right there.
Happy Faerie Dragons had no need to follow up. As soon as Brightwing blinked out of the Stitches hook, that was it. Just back off. Don't pop Putrid Bile. Don't fight in a choke like that. Just back off. You're level 15 to 14. There's no need for it. But they persisted. And the Maw was slightly off. It was a full channel Nazeebo ult. There was no interrupt for it. Illidan just wreaked absolute havoc to the back line. Now they're 16, but Cloud9 are going to be so close behind. They could, in theory, fight this bot bottom shrine. They have 3 ults up.
So they're gonna have to look to see what they want to do. They're leaving that Brightwing up there right now. She's gonna go ahead and back, but she does have her Z to get back whenever they need to. So Happy Faerie Dragons are gonna have to be very careful. Cloud9 just hit 16, so they will be on the equal footing, and they just showed the strength of their comp right there. So without the sustained healing coming out of Uther, they just fell. So they're gonna have to be really careful. They don't want to take as much damage as they need to from these boss, or from the boss right here that has come up on the shrine. So they're opting just to get out and wait. We do have Tychus going ahead and he's going to try to start bursting this down, but this just gives the green light for C9 to go ahead and get in there. They're going to go straight on to Stitches right here. He's actually taking a lot of damage, but Tazza is actually in a really bad position where it's all 5 members of the Happy Faerie Dragons are around him. He's going to go ahead and get out of there, and we're going to have to see what goes on here.
Yep, 16's actually a pretty big spike for Stitches here. He's got that slam stun, and Bobby Hank Hill on Vale.
Yep.
His strafe could get interrupted, but ECC stage dive.
Try to go straight on the Stitches right here. Will they be able to get him? The hook does go down. That will stop the ultimate. But the Maul actually looks like it misses everyone. They're going to go straight in here. They're going to go and try to jump onto Odin right here. But will they be able to get a lot of damage? No, he's going to have to get out. They're going down to Inkling. But Taz is taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to get out. He is barely surviving right there. Fan, really, really low. Will they be able to catch him out? Will he die? Yes, he will. They are going to be able to pop him right there. Will they be able to follow up onto this? It is a 1-for-1 right now. But C9 dangerously low is going to have to go ahead and just shrine right here.
C9's focus, even though it was on the Stitches there, it was really, really nice. Their idea was, get rid of the interrupt. Stitches did not interrupt the Valor. Valor got a full channel strafe off. He was able to stop the Nazebo ult after a little bit of channel time, but even so, being able to persist with the Valor strafe meant that there was a lot of output there. They're going to now grab their easy camp, the Happy Faerie Dragons, and seeing how many members are top, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them go boss.
So they're going to go for this, but it does look like that C9 does know this. They're going to start making their way down. They do see the mid, so it does give them a little bit of saying, okay, we know they're not on boss right now, so we're just going to go ahead and group up here, do whatever we can. Surprised that the Mule might be on cooldown. Surprised it actually hasn't come down onto this bottom lane. They are very lucky that it has not gone down yet, but as for, I do believe both are 17. The fight, despite going in favor of Happy Faerie Dragons, it was a little bit better for C9. They didn't lose everyone there, and despite losing the shrine, it just showed that they can keep with up this team. They're just gonna have to focus a little better, make sure that they get a full Nazebo ulti off, kind of protect that Nazebo a little bit more. I would think that they would possibly want to put Brightwing in a position that she's, or someone else. Of course, I do think that everyone else would have to be in a better position, but if you put that Brightwing so that she can intercept that hook or slam, so that they don't get it onto Nazebo, I do believe they can start winning more of these fights now.
Brightwing going to be using the bribe to take the easy camp before it gets stolen away. Fan taking a lot of damage there from Tychus, forcing the blink heal out of Zix. 2 of them in fact, so if Zix was to get hooked now, it'd be pretty dangerous for him.
You have the ETC top. He does have his stage dive, so he's going to try to split and get them caught up back on the experience, but we do have the shrines coming up here, but they're going to go on to Fan. He is taking a lot of damage. Will he get popped right here? No, he's going to have the metamorphosis. Zix taking a lot of damage, but Tazza coming in. Will this be the fight that they need? No, the Maul is going to come out and it will kill Tazza over there, but at the same time, Sagara is going to fall. The Ravenous Spirit is coming out. Will it be able to do as much damage as they need it to? It is going to fall onto Inkling, but it's not going to do enough. It is a 1-for-1 right now, except we are going to have Bala falling over there, being chased down by Stitches. So right now it is a 2-for-1 in favor of very Happy Faerie Dragons.
They have the option now of going for the shrines or pushing mid. It looks like they're going to go for a happy median. Grab one tower and fall back towards mid shrine and try and get some bullets here. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see them get a few here and then go and try and challenge top. Brightwing up in 15 seconds is going to be able to TP straight away. There are only 2 members up top. It's Tazza and Fan, so the opportunity is there should they want to go and contest, but it seems like they're just happy with this mid lane. The shrine hammering away on the fountain. Gonna switch over to the keep now, and I don't think it will be enough to grab it. It might just be enough, and if it is, then they're gonna have catapults in the mid lane.
But right now the name of the game are these Stitches hooks. These Stitches hooks have been on point. They are catching who they need to. They are interrupting the ultimates from the Nazebo, and I think that if they can continue doing this, they will actually be able to win this game. Looks like they were able to destroy that fort in the mid lane, so that will be the Cares running down to help them out. But right now, it looks like Donlu will be looking for a hook. It's not going to come right yet, so they're just going to back off right now. And C9 is just really going to have to play their games perfectly now. They had a chance to come back, but they keep getting caught out a little bit here, so we'll have to see what they do to come back.
Happy Faerie Dragons, they have the experience lead here. They're going to be hitting 20 soon. They're going to start things off by grabbing their easy camp yet again. This is something they've been really strong at this game. Controlling their mercs and the enemy mercs. We've seen them take away Cloud9's easy camp, I think, twice now. And every time it's been useful. They've been able to create a lot of pressure from it. And they're going to try and force something down bot now. They see ETC top, they know he can stage dive. Brightwing and Illin in a mid. This keep is being muled up, so they need to get in here. If they want to take this one, they need to get rid of the mule. And of course get some damage down.
Yeah, it's almost up the pool now, so they're going to be able to get him into the wall right there. But is he going to be able to get a hook? We do have the stage dive going down, and the Metamorphosis down on the Inkling. Are they going to try to pop in first? The Strafe is going down. It is going to go ahead. They're doing a lot of damage on the Inkling, but he's just staying alive. Taz is taking a lot of damage. Will they be able to switch? They got them all down onto Bobby Hand kill, so they are going to be able to pop Taz right there. And their fights are just going all their way right now.
And they're going to finish it off by getting the keep. They hit 20 just as that fight started. We saw the Divine Hurricane come out of Uther. It didn't really interrupt anything. It was more to get him to safety so that he was able to heal throughout. Stitches now. The amplified healing starts to make a little bit more sense. He's gone for the regenerative bile. Then we have the increased Archon and of course the blinks on the two ranged assassins. Well, Tychus and the pseudo ranged assassin in Zagara. They're going to grab this boss now, and this is going to go straight down to the core. Do they push with it? Or do they go and get these shrines? It looks... Pushing with it would be the best option, I think.
So it looks like... I think they're just really pushing the fact that they're winning these fights. They know that they do have the muscles over C9 right now, and they're just playing the fight so much better. We do have level 20 finally hitting...
They're going to be 5v4 top.
9. Yeah, so we're going to have to look to see what they decide to do. We do have double blink coming out of Bala and Illidan right now. The rewind coming out onto Brightwing. You have the Night Lane Spirit coming out for the Nazeebo, and yet to be picked up by ETC, so we'll have to see what that happens in a second. We do have the Mill Shrine. It's going to start doing damage, but ETC has to go back and deal with this boss, because if it doesn't, it will help take down the core here.
He has stage dive up in 5 seconds though, so it's not too bad, but if he leaves that, then the core takes a lot of damage. And this is the problem with Sky Temple. If you get to the point where you, then there we go, he's gone. Yep. He's in the fight.
We do have the Night Lane Spirit's going to try to go after Tychus right now. He's doing a lot of damage to Confon Luck and to Tychus. Will it be able to do enough? No. So we did have the Maul go down. The Divine Hurricane does go down, lock up a couple of members.
35%, 30%, 15. It's game.
But it doesn't matter. Game is over.
And there it is. C9 falling to the Happy Faerie Dragons. That was one of the problems. If you lose the later game fights, it becomes an issue of, do we leave base and contest the shrines, or do we risk it? And C9 risked it, and it didn't work out. The boss was just doing so much damage to their core. And what a shame for Cloud9. They're exiting this one in 5th to 8th place, not making the semi-finals. But Happy Faerie Dragons, they're going to be even happier with their performance there going forward to the semi-final. I'm not sure who they'll face, but it's going to be probably a little bit tougher than C9. C9 didn't look all that strong.
They just weren't able to really put their comp to use. They had a great comp here, but just never really able to put it out to its fullest effect. And we were kind of questioning the Happy Faerie Dragons comp, and well, they just played it to perfection. And I can understand why they decided to do what they did here. And congratulations to them. They did perfectly here and just won this game so convincingly. And wow. All I can say.
Yep, simple as that. So guys, again, we're going to take a quick break, hopefully a lot quicker than the previous one. Stay tuned with us. We'll be back with a semi-final match. It's probably going to be the one which has Happy Faerie Dragons in, so go grab some popcorn, grab a drink.
Evil Geniuses.
EG, okay.
Yep, so EVG versus Happy Faerie Dragons will be our next one. Hopefully we can get that right to you.
Yep, so go grab a quick drink, grab some popcorn, and of course a snack if you want. We'll be back very shortly, so see you in a few minutes.